Hey folks, time for a little bit of a story time. This is going to be all about how I believe UPS stole, or at least lost, my iPhone 14. So buckle in. Here is how it kind of went down. So I had pre-ordered the iPhone 14 Pro Max and it was all set and it was going to be actually out for delivery. It was actually out for delivery on release day. So that was all fine and good. It was out for delivery that day. So I'm sitting at home waiting for it, but I don't know if it's actually going to come to my home or come to my nearest UPS store location because I had put in my UPS account. They have a little toggle switch that says deliver all deliveries, all UPS deliveries to the UPS store. So I had that set as a default in my account, but I am at home. So in case they deliver it to my home, either way, it would have been fine. So I get a notice that it was actually ready for pickup. This is around 11 a.m. on that Friday, ready for pickup at the UPS store. So I'm like really excited. And I booked down there on my e-scooter. I don't live far away from my nearest UPS store, only like 3 blocks. So I would say I'm down there within like 7 minutes of me getting notification that it was ready for pickup. So I walk into the UPS store and I'm the only one in there and there's only one employee in there at the time. And kind of suspiciously, I see the employee in there, the clerk that works there, photocopying what looks like iPhone boxes. This is the actual box that the iPhone comes in. It says that it comes from AI, which people know is probably, Apple. And then surprisingly, it even says like the IMEI. I took it off, but there's a little label on the spine of the box that would say the IMEI and the serial number. So, they can tell that it's an iPhone. I mean, especially on launch day, you're getting a lot of these and you can just tell, even though it doesn't say iPhone or say Apple on it, you can tell. So anyway, I see her photocopying a box, on the photo machine. She's copying the label. So I go in there and I say, yeah, I'm here to pick up my package. And she says, oh, it's not here. I'm like, what? I got a delivery notification saying it's ready to be picked up. And she says, yeah, there was an update after that. And I'm like, what? So she looks it up on the computer and types in the tracking number. I give her the tracking number and she types it in and she shows me, yeah, we don't have the package here. On the tracking, it actually shows delivered to the UPS access point, which is the UPS store. And then literally 3 minutes after that, or 3 to 5 minutes after that, there's another quote unquote scan and it says, a change of delivery has been requested. The status will be updated as soon as the package reaches the hub. Something to that effect, reaches the nearest facility. And I'm thinking, well, like, who made that change? I didn't make that change. It's very suspicious. So I was kind of like arguing back and forth with her a little bit, saying, I didn't make that change or anything. She says, well, contact UPS customer support because we do not have your package here. I'm like, well, whatever. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt at this point, but it just seems really, really weird. So I go back home, I call UPS, they kind of say the same thing. They look it up, they say, yeah, there's been a kind of change to this delivery and the change won't be reflected until it reaches the UPS facility. So you just have to wait until it gets, delivered back to the UPS regional facility, like the hub, before any change is made. So I'm like kind of pissed off at this point because I really wanted my iPhone and I wanted it on release date, but I'm trying to give UPS the benefit of the doubt. So I just keep, and this is a Friday, by the way, so chances are nothing's going to be updated over the weekend, right? So I can't, get it Saturday or whatever, So then anyway, I wait patiently over the weekend. There's been no updates. I wait all the way till Monday. There's been no updates. If there's an update in my experience to the package, it would say by Monday or something like that, and it would say like on vehicle for delivery that morning or something. Nothing happened. It was just, there was no other further tracking information or tracking statuses or tracking scans or anything. So I call UPS on Monday and they say, yeah, that's weird because normally there would have to be some kind of a scan every 24 hours of the status of the package, typically. So at that point, somebody at UPS recommended that I call the shipper and just say, report it being lost or whatever. So I do that, and Apple says they're going to look into it. And I have to say, Apple was really very good throughout this whole process. Although I do have some minor complaints about some of the way that they communicate, but I'll get into that. So I do call Apple, and they kind of check it and say, yeah, it looks really weird. They kind of agree that it did appear to be lost or something, because they weren't able to tell what's going on. And I did go back and forth with a couple of their reps. Like the first tier rep at Apple was a little bit clueless, and she had to transfer me to somebody else, and that somebody else had to transfer me to another department. And just for your own reference, the final department that I spoke to is called the post-sales department. That's the department that actually helped me kind of get this resolved. And so anyway, they kind of agreed that, yeah, it does, appear to be lost. So we will just put a tracer on it and we will send you out another replacement. But that replacement isn't available until something like October 28th or something. I was like, oh man, I have to wait like another month for my iPhone. And the woman I spoke to at Apple was very, very apologetic, and she even said, yeah, she herself can't even get the new one yet, and stuff like that. So we were kind of, commiserating with each other about that. But anyway, she did say she would put in what they call an express processing on it, which kind of puts me above the line from other people who are actually just ordering the iPhone. So I'm like, that was pretty cool. In the meantime, I went to my UPS account and I took off that thing where you hold packages at the UPS store, and I just put it to have things delivered to my address, because at this point I'm very suspicious of the UPS store, and I'm suspicious of that whole process because it's like an extra layer in the whole delivery process. So I'm very stressed out and stuff like that, and I'm just resigned to having to wait till like October 28th or something like that for my new iPhone. So meanwhile, I keep tracking this package and hoping that maybe it would get delivered or showed up, and nothing happened. It's like the tracking was just dead, nothing there at all. No scans, no nothing. The package just completely vanished out of the UPS tracking system. In the meantime, if you look further in the tracking details, it does show that there's a proof of delivery, and when you look at that proof of delivery, it says delivered to the UPS store. So that's UPS's proof of delivery, which is a little suspicious to me, because how can they say it was actually delivered there when they're saying also that it wasn't, because there's another scan after that, there's another update scan after that. And then also nobody signed for the package or anything. Like I certainly didn't sign for it. That doesn't show any kind of signature or anything like that. So the whole thing was just very, very bewildering. Now my only other complaint is with Apple, and about 48 hours after I talked to that representative, I get an email, and it's kind of a very simple, for lack of a better word, Steve Jobs kind of email. It just says, from Apple support, we're replacing your iPhone. But it didn't go into any other further details. It was just like a boilerplate email with my order number there. And when I clicked on my order number, it said replaced. So under my order, I could see the devices there. It said like the first iPhone shipment was there, and it just said like shipped. And then there was another one there that said replaced, and then with the cost of $0. Now the only thing is, on the replacement one, they charged me $0, but they charged me sales tax, unfortunately. Apparently there's some weird California thing where they have to charge sales tax on that. So that was kind of angering to me. It was like $116 or something like that for sales tax. But I kind of let that slide, because I just figured I'd wait till I get the replacement iPhone, and then I could call Apple and have them deal with that, in terms of like removing that sales tax charge, because of course I don't want to be charged sales tax twice. They had already charged me the full price and sales tax on the original order, and that went through on my credit card and all that kind of stuff anyway. So then a few days go by, and I'm not really expecting anything, because she did say that the replacement iPhone wouldn't be shipping until like October 28th or something like that. But I do get a shipment notification from Apple. So they were kind of able to get my replacement out earlier, and that was only like a week later or something like that. So that was really cool. And it's coming directly from China, just like the original iPhone. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that the same thing doesn't happen with my replacement, because that would totally suck. I'm getting kind of nervous again, and I'm losing sleep, and I'm losing hair, and I'm going gray, and all this kind of stuff. Wondering, just kind of like almost obsessing about it and wanting to get my iPhone. Eventually, I just kind of gave up and just said, I'm not going to worry about it. Whatever happens, happens. I just can't lose any more sleep over this, running myself ragged over this whole thing. So I kind of try to take my mind off of it. So anyway, the long story short of this is, yes, I did receive the replacement iPhone, and it was delivered to my address because I had actually taken off that hold, at the UPS store. And on the day that it was delivered, I did finally receive my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So yeah, I did finally receive the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I'm really quite happy with it. And so it finally was delivered, so that's really cool. So I figured after it was delivered and I had it in my hands, I would call Apple about that extra sales tax charge, because at this point I was actually charged twice for sales tax. So I did call Apple again and talk to someone in the post-sales team, and she looked into it. And she did see that, yeah, I was erroneously charged sales tax twice, once on the missing iPhone originally, and then again, just the sales tax only charge on the replacement iPhone. So she said, we will go ahead and refund that for you. So that's cool. Everything was fine on that. But I keep checking my Apple Card, because I did charge this stuff for 3% cash back in on my Apple Card. And very oddly, instead of seeing a refund there, it showed a pending charge for sales tax. So then I'm going, oh man, am I going to get charged 3 times for sales tax? It actually showed a pending charge with the 3% cash back and everything for sales tax. So it was almost as if instead of Apple refunding that sales tax charge, they actually charged it again. like maybe somebody messed up or something like that. So I was kind of sweating bullets about that for a while, but it did say pending, didn't say it was actually a charge yet. So then I call Apple again about this and speak to someone there, someone else, and she says, yeah, from our side, it looks like we did refund you. It doesn't look like we charged you. And she says, if you did get a charge, we'll contact your credit card company and dispute that. But then I'm thinking, well, if I have to dispute this, it's gonna like kind of look bad or put me in a bad state with Apple. Like Apple might do something like lock me out of my Apple account or something like that if I dispute that charge, right? I'm thinking to myself, well, if I have to do that, I'll do that. I'll do that because it's a false charge. You know, at this point, it's basically like a fraudulent charge, right? I mean, being charged sales tax like that multiple times, you know, is kind of fraudulent. Very luckily and almost astonishing to me, a few days later, I did see the refund back to my Apple card for the sales tax, and it wasn't a charge. That pending charge did not actually go through. So I was so relieved. Everything was fine at that point. I had my new iPhone in my hand and all the charges and everything were fine. Everything was cool. Finally, I could relax. And I finally have my brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max in my hands. Now, to this day, my original iPhone shipment has not been found. There have not been any scan updates or anything like that, other than an investigation was opened into it. Because when I reported it to UPS, they opened some kind of a trace or something. And I think Apple also opened some kind of a trace on it as well. But basically, it is just good as gone. It is like lost or stolen. And if you ask me, what do I think happened? I think somebody either at the UPS store or the UPS driver took the iPhone and did some kind of a weird shipping status update to it after taking it. Very suspicious, though, I have to say, very, very suspicious. But I'm really glad that the second shipment did arrive and everything was fine with the second shipment. But yeah, something that is very suspicious to me in retrospect is that when I originally went into the UPS store to pick it up, the clerk was photocopying a couple of these packages on the copy machine. She was photocopying the labels and stuff very suspiciously. So I don't know what that was all about. Maybe it was nothing. But that seemed kind of odd to me because I had never seen that before. So anyway, if any of you have any thoughts about this, about what might have happened or whatever, I would love to hear your comments in the comments field. I'm just glad everything all worked out. To Apple's credit, once they realized on their end that the iPhone did appear to be lost or stolen, they did immediately put in a replacement order for me, and they did what they call an express order, which did put me kind of ahead of people even just pre-ordering these. So, you know, Apple was really very good in terms of that. They didn't say, hey, you're on your own. It looks like it was delivered, you know, or something like that. They did take care of the customer in that respect. So kudos to them for that. Some of their communications via email were very terse, which was one thing that was kind of weird. The email I received from them just said, we were replacing your iPhone. That's all it said, like one sentence. It didn't go into any other details like, hey, I've looked into this and this is what's happening or whatever. No niceties or anything like that in their email, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think maybe it was just an automated email, actually. And then I received another email after I had called about the sales tax only charge in terms of getting that refund. And then that email was also very terse in just one line. It just says like, we are refunding you or something like that. That's all it said. But I also learned in dealing with Apple that it kind of depends on the representative that you're speaking with, because one of the representatives was super nice. And actually when we were ending the call, he said something like, I'd like to thank you very much for being the best part of Apple. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch saying that, you know, and I work kind of in technical customer service, and I was thinking, hey, man, I might steal that line. That's a pretty good line. Anyway, in the end, the long story short is it all worked out. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. And if you have any thoughts or comments, I would love to hear them in the comments field. See you in my next video, everyone.